You stand at a crossroads a moment, carved out by time itself, where the environment that once nurtured you now constricts your spirit. What was once fertile soil for growth has become cracked earth, limiting roots and stunting branches. This is a silent truth of evolution. When you outgrow your environment, evolve. It is not merely an option, but a necessity, an imperative, etched into the fabric of your being. The human spirit is designed to expand, to stretch beyond boundaries, to explore uncharted territories, both within and without. Yet so often, comfort and familiarity bind us in invisible chains. We cling to places, people, and patterns that no longer serve our ascent because the known is easier than the unknown. This attachment to stagnation is the birthplace of syphoria, the intoxicating sedation that convinces you to settle, to numb, to survive rather than thrive. But survival is not the purpose of your existence. To evolve is to awaken from the haze of normalized limitation. It demands that you confront the tension between where you are and where you must go. This tension is uncomfortable, even painful, but it is the crucible of transformation. Nietzsche called this the pathos of distance, the inevitable friction that drives growth beyond the familiar. Your mindset becomes the battlefield and the sanctuary for this evolution. It is the arena where doubt clashes with faith, fear wrestles with courage. To evolve, you must cultivate a mindset that embraces discomfort as a herald of expansion, not a signal to retreat. This mindset is forged in deliberate awareness, the choice to see beyond immediate pain to the promise of a broader horizon. Belief is the flame that ignites this journey, not shallow hope, but a deep, unyielding conviction in your capacity to transcend. Belief anchors you when the old environment whispers seduction, when the pull of regression threatens to undo progress. It transforms the unknown from a chasm of fear into a bridge of possibility. Clarity emerges as you shed illusions tethering you to your past. It reveals the true shape of your vision, unclouded by the fog of attachment. This clarity is the beacon guiding your steps into new terrain, illuminating paths previously obscured by comfort or complacency. Vision becomes your compass, not a distant dream, but a living blueprint of the self you are becoming. It demands you rise above survival instincts and embrace creation to shape your future intentionally rather than be shaped by circumstance. Purpose fuels the engine of this ascent. It transforms the journey from aimless wandering to deliberate pilgrimage. Purpose is the call that resounds in your soul, compelling you to leave the safety of the old for the promise of the new, no matter how daunting the unknown. Discipline is the scaffold on which evolution is built. It is the daily commitment to act in alignment with your emerging vision, even when comfort tempts you to remain still. Discipline is not rigidity, but sacred devotion, a persistent honoring of your higher self over fleeting impulses. Action translates discipline into transformation. It is the embodied movement from recognition to realization. Action dismantles the shackles of inertia and breathes life into possibility. Each courageous step beyond your old environment breaks the spell of limitation and rewires your identity. Gratitude becomes the anchor in this voyage. It roots you in appreciation for the lessons of your past environment, both nurturing and confining. Gratitude softens resistance to change, transforming endings into sacred transitions and loss into liberation. Adaptability sharpens your edge as you navigate uncharted landscapes. The evolved self is not rigid but fluid, capable of bending without breaking. Adaptability is the wisdom to flow with change, to pivot with grace, and to innovate when faced with uncertainty. Resilience is the backbone of your ascent. It is the sacred strength to endure the disorientation of transformation, to rise from the ashes of the old self, and to persist when the path is shrouded in doubt. Resilience transforms trials into triumphs, setbacks into setups for greater growth. Learning is the lifelong companion of evolution. It is the humility to admit what you don't know, the curiosity to explore beyond your current limits, and the courage to unlearn the familiar. Learning ensures that your evolution is continuous, deepening, and expansive. This is the law of becoming. When the soil no longer sustains you, you must become the seed that breaks through, the root that seeks new depths, the branch that reaches beyond the sky. Your environment will shape you only until you refuse to be shaped by it any longer. So rise with intention. Embrace the discomfort. Break the bonds of familiarity. Evolve beyond your past, because evolution is your birthright. And the life waiting beyond your old environment is the truest expression of your infinite potential. Evolution is not a quiet whisper. It's a roaring tempest within, tearing down the worn walls that once sheltered you and demanding you step into the wild unknown. It's a call to awaken the dormant parts of yourself, the uncharted territories of strength, creativity, and purpose, buried beneath layers of habit and conformity. When you outgrow your environment, you face a crucible one that does not ask if you're ready, but insists you rise anyway. This rising is not linear. It is a spiral of breaking and rebuilding, a dance between surrender and fierce resolve. Each step forward may feel like a fracturing, an unmooring from the identities and comforts you once clung to. But within that fracture lies the seed of transformation. Nietzsche said, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." That chaos, the uncertainty, the discomfort is the birthplace of your new self. Your mindset becomes the battlefield and the sanctuary of this chaos. You learn to sit with discomfort without fleeing, to face the shadows without shrinking. This is the discipline of presence, not avoiding the storm, but standing steady as it rages around you. It is here that true power grows not in the absence of fear, but in the mastery of it. Belief anchors you amid the swirling unknown. This belief is a fierce and unwavering conviction that you are meant for more, that the limits you've known are illusions waiting to be shattered. It transforms uncertainty into opportunity, fear into fuel. It is the light by which you navigate the dark corridors of change. Clarity emerges as you peel back layers of doubt and distraction. It reveals the essence of who you are becoming, a being, unbound by old limitations, driven by a vision so vivid it commands action. Clarity is the compass that guides your evolution, ensuring every step is purposeful and aligned. Vision ignites the fire within. It is not a distant dream, but a living blueprint, a map etched into your soul that beckons you forward. Vision propels you beyond the familiar, compelling you to inhabit spaces where growth is inevitable and comfort is scarce. Purpose becomes the fuel that sustains you through the inevitable trials. It is the why that carries you when the path is steep and the horizon uncertain. Purpose roots you deeply in your mission, transforming obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into setups for greatness. Discipline fortifies the structure of your transformation. It is the relentless daily practice of choosing evolution over ease, mastery over mediocrity. Discipline sharpens your focus, trims distractions, and empowers you to build new habits that reflect the expanded self you are becoming. Action brings this entire process into motion. It is the sacred alchemy that turns intention into reality. Through action, you break free from inertia and rewrite the narrative of your life. Each decisive move forward dismantles the prison of your past environment and constructs the foundation of your new world. Gratitude deepens your resilience. It grounds you in appreciation for every lesson, joyful or painful, that has shaped your journey. Gratitude transforms change from a threat into a gift, allowing you to embrace evolution with an open heart and an unshakable spirit. Adaptability hones your edge in the face of life's unpredictability. It teaches you to flow with shifting circumstances without losing sight of your core. Adaptability is the wisdom to pivot gracefully, to innovate boldly, and to remain fluid amid transformation. Resilience becomes your armor and your sword. It is the capacity to rise stronger after every fall, to persevere when the world tests your resolve, and to transform adversity into advantage. Resilience carries you through the wilderness of becoming until you emerge as your highest self. Learning fuels your continuous evolution. It is the humility to embrace not knowing, the curiosity to explore beyond your limits, and the courage to evolve beyond comfort. Through learning, you ensure your growth never stagnates, your potential never caps. This is a sacred cycle of evolution, chaos and clarity, breaking and building, surrender and strength. It demands everything you have and returns the fullness of who you are destined to be. So step boldly beyond your old environment. Embrace the chaos as creation. Trust the process of transformation and become the infinite expression of your evolving self. Because when you outgrow your environment, you do not simply survive, you transcend. And in that transcendence, you become unstoppable. This transcendence calls for a new kind of courage, the courage to walk alone when the crowd cannot follow, to trust your inner compass when the external world offers no clear path. It's a courage born from a deep knowing that your evolution is not just personal, it is a ripple in the collective consciousness. Your growth challenges the stagnant waters of those around you, urging them to rise or recede. You learn to distinguish between the voices that nourish your becoming and those that seek to tether you to old narratives. This discernment sharpens your boundaries, protecting the fragile new growth from the weeds of doubt and distraction. It allows you to move through social landscapes with grace, engaging only where your presence ignites progress rather than perpetuates regression. This is the art of sacred detachment, not abandonment, but wise separation. You hold love for your past environment and those within it, even as you release your grip on its limitations. In doing so, you create space for new connections, new ideas, and new dimensions of self to emerge. Your expanded self attracts new frequencies, people, opportunities, and experiences aligned with your evolution. This alignment is not coincidence, but the natural consequence of vibrating at a higher frequency, of embodying the change you wish to see. It is the universe responding to the clarity and courage of your becoming. Yet, this journey is also a deep dive into humility. You confront the vast unknown within yourself, acknowledging the shadows still lurking beneath the surface. You learn that evolution is not perfection, but persistent progress, an ongoing dance between light and shadow, strength and vulnerability. Within this dance, you cultivate compassion for yourself and others. You understand that everyone is on their own path of becoming, shaped by their environment and choices. Compassion softens judgment and opens the heart, allowing connection without compromise. You embrace the paradox that to evolve, you must sometimes unlearn what you thought you knew. This unlearning is a shedding of old skins, a willingness to dismantle identity, constructs that no longer serve growth. It requires intellectual courage as well as emotional resilience. Learning becomes an act of liberation, a freeing of the mind from dogma and the soul from stagnation. It invites you to explore new philosophies, sciences, and perspectives, integrating them into a richer, more nuanced understanding of yourself and the world. This intellectual and spiritual expansion fuels creativity and innovation. Your solutions become more elegant, your ideas more transformative, and your impact more profound. You become not just a survivor of change, but a pioneer, charting new territories for others to follow. As you evolve, your relationship with time deepens. You recognize that growth cannot be rushed. It unfolds in its own rhythm, often slow, sometimes imperceptible, but always steady. Patience becomes a sacred virtue, a trust in the unfolding process rather than frantic control. This trust aligns you with the flow of life itself, the cosmic dance of destruction and creation, death and rebirth. You learn to surrender to this flow without losing your agency, to ride its waves with both strength and softness. In this surrender, you find freedom, the freedom to become without fear, to create without limitation, and to live with a profound sense of purpose and peace. So rise now into this expansive truth. Walk boldly into the unknown. Evolve beyond your past environment and claim the limitless horizon of your becoming. Because when you outgrow your environment, you do not just adapt, you transcend. And in transcendence, you become the architect of a new world, starting with yourself. Transcendence calls for a radical redefinition of identity, not as something fixed or inherited, but as a fluid and ever-unfolding expression of your deepest truths. You shed the worn skins of old labels, expectations, and limitations, stepping into a self authored by conscious choice rather than unconscious conditioning. This is the birth of authentic power, rooted not in external approval, but in unwavering alignment with your evolving essence. This rebirth demands vulnerability, the courage to face the unknown territories within yourself where shadows linger. It is in these darkened places that your greatest gifts are hidden, waiting for the light of awareness to awaken them. Like Jung's process of individuation, your evolution is a sacred integration of all parts, the fractured and the whole, the light and the shadow, into a harmonious self. As you integrate, you become a beacon for others navigating their own transformations. Your presence radiates the profound truth that evolution is both painful and beautiful, chaotic and ordered, terrifying and liberating. You offer not answers, but the invitation to journey deeper, to embrace complexity, and to find strength in the dance of becoming. This leadership born of evolution is quiet yet undeniable. It does not seek to control but to inspire. It does not impose but invites. You lead by embodying the principles of growth you espouse: integrity, resilience, curiosity, and compassion, creating ripples that extend far beyond your immediate sphere. In this expanded role, your purpose crystallizes further. It becomes a call to contribute, to serve, and to co-create a world that reflects the highest potentials of humanity. Your personal evolution transforms into collective evolution. As you recognize that your growth is intertwined with the awakening of others, you become a steward of change, balancing visionary ambition with grounded wisdom. You navigate complexity with grace, holding space for uncertainty without losing sight of your North Star. This balance is the hallmark of true mastery. Your journey teaches you that evolution is not a solitary path, but a web of relationships and influences. You cultivate communities that support and challenge you, spaces where authenticity thrives and growth is nurtured. These connections become both mirrors and catalysts for your continued becoming. As you embrace this dynamic ecosystem, you deepen your capacity for empathy and understanding. You see others not as obstacles or competitors, but as fellow travelers with unique gifts and challenges. This expanded perspective enriches your experience and broadens your impact. You also come to honor cycles, recognizing the rhythms of growth and rest, action and reflection, expansion and contraction. By aligning with these natural flows, you sustain your energy and creativity, avoiding burnout and fostering longevity in your pursuits. In the sacred dance of evolution, you discover joy not as fleeting happiness, but as profound fulfillment rooted in authenticity and purpose. This joy sustains you through hardships and amplifies the beauty of every breakthrough. So continue this sacred work of becoming. Embrace the mystery, honor the process, lead with heart and mind in harmonious balance. Because when you outgrow your environment, you transcend, not only your circumstances, but the very limitations of self. And in that transcendence, you ignite a legacy that transforms worlds, beginning with your own. In the wake of transcendence, you realize that evolution is not a destination, but a continuous unfolding, a spiral that rises yet circles back to deepen understanding and integration. Each phase of growth reveals new layers of complexity, new shadows to confront, new heights to aspire toward. This perpetual dance demands humility, for the more you know, the more you see how much remains to be discovered. This humility is not weakness, but strength. It dissolves arrogance and opens you to wisdom beyond your current grasp. It invites you to listen to the subtle whispers of intuition, to the lessons woven in hardship, to the perspectives of those who walk different paths. Through this openness, your mind expands and your heart deepens. Your expanded consciousness cultivates a sacred patience, a trust in the timing of your journey. You learn to honor the seasons of growth, understanding that forcing change only fractures what must instead be nurtured. Patience becomes your ally, allowing you to persist through periods of uncertainty with grace and resolve. Within this flow, creativity blossoms. Freed from the confines of old patterns and normalized limitations, your imagination awakens. You begin to envision possibilities previously unseen, to innovate boldly, and to manifest realities aligned with your highest self. Creation becomes an act of reverence, a co-creation with the universe itself. This creative power is tempered by responsibility. You recognize that your evolution impacts not only your life, but the fabric of the world around you. Every thought, word, and action carries weight, rippling through communities and generations. With this awareness, you commit to embodying integrity and compassion, ensuring your influence uplifts and heals. As you move forward, the tension between certainty and mystery becomes a fertile ground for growth. You hold your vision firmly while embracing the unknown with curiosity. This balance fosters resilience, allowing you to navigate setbacks without losing momentum, to adapt without sacrificing authenticity. Your relationships transform in this space of evolution. You attract others who resonate with your journey, kindred spirits who challenge, support, and inspire. Together, you form networks of growth and healing, amplifying collective potential and weaving a tapestry of shared purpose. Leadership, then, is redefined not as control or dominance, but as service and example. You lead by embodying the qualities you wish to see in the world, by fostering environments where others can thrive, and by nurturing the seeds of transformation in every interaction. This holistic evolution integrates mind, body, and spirit. You cultivate wellness not as a goal, but as a foundation, honoring the interconnectedness of all aspects of self. Through practices of mindfulness, movement, and reflection, you sustain the energy required for sustained growth. In this ever-unfolding journey, you reclaim the sacred art of learning. You become a lifelong student, not only of external knowledge, but of your inner landscape. Each insight deepens your self-awareness. Each challenge refines your character. Each success humbles and inspires. So embrace the endless horizon of evolution. Step boldly into the unknown with a heart wide open and a mind sharp with discernment. Let your life be a testament to the power of transformation, not as a singular event, but as a continual sacred dance. Because when you outgrow your environment, you don't just change your surroundings, you transform the very essence of who you are. And in that transformation, you become the limitless expression of your true self, a beacon lighting the way for others to evolve alongside you. With every step into this unfolding, you come to realize that evolution is a rebellion against the inertia of the familiar. It is a fierce refusal to be confined by the walls of your past environment or the expectations others impose. This rebellion demands audacity, the boldness to break away from safety nets and leap into uncertainty. In this space, fear reveals itself not as an enemy, but as a signpost pointing toward growth. You learn to welcome fear as a companion on your journey, a messenger that signals you are stretching beyond old limits. Each confrontation with fear becomes an initiation, a rite of passage toward a more expansive self. This audacity reshapes your narrative. No longer do you see yourself as a product of circumstance, but as the author of your story. You claim responsibility for every chapter, choosing themes of empowerment, resilience, and transformation. This authorship is liberating and daunting a call to write with intention and integrity. Your environment shifts in response. As you evolve, you naturally gravitate towards spaces and people that mirror your growth. Toxicity and stagnation fall away, replaced by connections that challenge and inspire. This selective attraction refines your ecosystem, creating fertile ground for sustained expansion. Yet you recognize that environment is not only external, but internal. The landscapes of your mind and heart must evolve in tandem with your outer world. You cultivate inner environments of clarity, compassion, and courage. These inner sanctuaries sustain you when external conditions falter. This holistic evolution requires integration, the weaving together of past experiences, present insights, and future aspirations. You become a master of synthesis, blending wisdom and innovation, strength and vulnerability, discipline and spontaneity. Through integration, you transcend fragmentation and embody wholeness. Your journey is marked by cycles of release and renewal. You shed outdated beliefs and habits like autumn leaves, making space for new growth. This cyclical process is sacred, honoring the rhythms of life and the natural flow of transformation. As you evolve, your purpose crystallizes into a guiding star. It is not a fixed destination, but a dynamic call that evolves with you, infusing your actions with meaning and direction. Purpose propels you forward, especially when the path is obscured or the journey arduous. Discipline anchors your ascent. It is the daily devotion to practices that align body, mind, and spirit. Discipline tempers passion with persistence, turning fleeting inspiration into lasting achievement. Action becomes a manifestation of your evolution. It is decisive, aligned, and courageous. You move with the certainty that each step, no matter how small, contributes to the architecture of your new reality. Gratitude enriches this process, cultivating a heart open to the gifts hidden within challenges and triumphs alike. Gratitude deepens your resilience, fostering joy even amidst struggle. Adaptability equips you to navigate the unpredictable currents of life. You become fluid and responsive, able to pivot without losing your core, to innovate without abandoning integrity. Resilience fortifies your spirit, transforming setbacks into springboards. It embodies the unshakable faith that growth is inevitable and that every fall carries the seed of ascent. Learning is your compass and catalyst. You remain a humble seeker, committed to expanding your horizons and deepening your understanding. Through learning, you transcend limitations and illuminate new pathways. So embrace this radical journey of becoming. Break free from the confines of your old environment. Rise into the vastness of your potential. Because when you outgrow your environment, you don't just evolve, you revolutionize your very existence. And in that revolution, you become the limitless force of transformation the world desperately needs. Now, stand in the fullness of this truth. Your evolution is inevitable when you refuse to remain confined by the walls that once defined you. To outgrow your environment is not a failure of belonging. It is the highest act of self-respect and courage. It is the sacred refusal to settle for a life smaller than your soul's capacity. You carry within you the power to redefine your reality, to rewrite the story of who you are and who you will become. This power awakens when you embrace discomfort, when you choose growth over ease, when you step boldly into the unknown with faith as your compass. Your environment will shift, your relationships will transform, and your vision will expand beyond the horizon you once knew. But this transformation begins with a single choice: to evolve. So rise, step beyond the familiar, claim your infinite potential, build the life that calls you, not the one you've outgrown. Because when you outgrow your environment, you become unstoppable. You become the architect of a new world, starting with yourself, and that world awaits your arrival.